Hi, this is Sally, and I'm here to show you how to play the game Photosynthesis. It's a pretty new game. It's only been around for 1 year, and it's really pretty. And I think it's a great game just to play with your friends and family, but if for the parents that want to teach kids, maybe the ages 9 or 7 and up, basic principles of photosynthesis and how it makes a tree grow, that's a great game for that as well. Here's the setup, and it's quite simple. Each player gets pretty much a board piece, and this board piece basically shows you the shop at where you can buy the seeds, the trees at different levels, and it just kind of has these reminders as to how many points it takes to level up your trees. And then this right here is basically where you keep track of your light points, and this is very important, and I'll show you how to use that in just a bit. This area right here are basically the trees that you own and the seeds that you can start playing with. And here we have, of course, the board. The board is very simple, and what we have here is a sun. The sun is really important because it basically moves around the board, and this is how you collect your points, and which I will show you in just a bit. And here we have the very important point pieces, and you basically don't pick up these point pieces until you actually harvest a large tree. And here we have basically tracker tokens to keep track of how many times the sun has gone around. And this particular piece is very important because it shows you which player started first, so that you can remember each time, so that once we get around each set of players, then you turn and you change the sun around. The youngest player starts, and the way the game starts is at first you get to lay 2 trees. So the youngest player will start laying a tree. Okay, so let's say this player right here, the orange is the youngest. So orange starts laying trees. Now remember, you can only lay trees on the side. You can't start anywhere in the middle. Okay, so the youngest player is thinking, okay, I guess I'll put it here. And then comes this player, he gets his turn. He wants to put it here, and then this player gets to go, puts it here, and then this player gets to put it wherever they want. Okay? And now we start with the first round. The first round, everybody has 0 points, right? Okay? First round, here's the sun, and we start counting the photo points. Here's 1, 2, this tree's not blocked. No trees are being blocked. Both sides gets 2 points. 1, 2. 1, 2. Now that we've scored, both sides has 2 points, so this first player gets to start spending these points. You don't have to spend on every round. So let's say this first player says, you know what, I'll just spend 1 point and I'm going to throw a seed, because it costs 1 point to throw 1 seed. Now where can this player throw a seed? It has to be, because it's a small tree, it has to be within 1 space of the tree. Okay? So this player can throw the seeds anywhere around here, but cannot throw it over here. All right? So I'm thinking, okay, I'll throw a seed here. Okay? Now the next player goes, and the next player says, you know what? Maybe I'll throw a seed too. He buys a seed. Okay, he's gonna throw 1 seed, and it's the same rule. He can only throw it 1 away because it's only a small tree. Middle trees can throw 2 over. Large trees can throw 3 over, okay? So he's thinking, all right, I'll just throw it here. Okay, the round ends, and we have to move this over. He's gonna be the next player, and we move the sun. Okay, now it's scoring time again. So here we have it. 1, because it's got photosynthesis, and it's not blocking this tree as well, so this player gets 1, 2. That's 2 points. 1, 2. Now he has a total of 3 because in the last round he didn't use all of his points. Okay, now this player also gets 2 points because these trees are not blocking it. These trees can only block 1. Okay, so that's 1, 2. 1, 2. Similarly, this player has 3 points now because this player didn't spend that point in the last round. So now that we've scored, now in this round, this player, blue player, gets to go first. So in this round, let's say the blue player says, okay, I'm going to use 2, you see here, in order to go from a small tree to a middle tree to a medium tree, he needs 2 points. So he's going to say, okay, I'm going to use 2 points, and I'm going to grow this small tree into a large one. Okay? Now, at the beginning, what happens is you always, every time you grow and you trade a tree, you want it to get recycled, but here there's no room because all the spaces are taken, right? So this basically goes into a toss pile. We throw that here. Don't get it mixed up with the other trees, okay? So basically now this player says, okay, he can still technically buy another seed, but he's gonna say, I don't want to buy a seed, I don't want to throw a seed, so he's gonna bank this at 1 point. So now comes this player. Now this player is saying, okay, you know what? I'm sorry, this player also has 3 points, let's make that clear. So this player's gonna say, you know what? I'm just gonna buy a seed instead, okay? Or throw a seed, okay? Now this player's gonna throw a seed here, okay? So that's the end of this round. And now we're gonna move the players over. Okay, don't forget, this player's gonna be next. So now it's time to move the sun again. Okay, now this is a different score now. Why? Because this player now has a larger tree, okay, that's not blocked by any tree. So now the score is gonna be 1, 2, 3. Let's move that up. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now this player only still has these 2 little trees, but they're not blocked, so it's 1, 2. Gets 2 points. 1, 2. Okay. Now this player gets to go first this time. So this player's gonna say, okay, so now I wanna use, okay, 1 to grow one of the seeds into a smaller tree, okay? Now once he takes a seed, this can't get recycled because all the seeds are taken up, so you throw this away. Okay, so now I could ask this player orange, is there anything else you want to do, because there's still 3 points left. The orange is like, no, I don't want to do anything, I want to hold on to it and bank it. So orange is gone, and now it's the blue's turn. So blue's turn is going to say, okay, I've got 4 points, but I would like to buy a large tree. So a large tree here, as you can see, is 4 points. Okay, you have to first, remember, you have to first buy something. It has to come here before you can even use it. Then you use these points here. Okay, so this player is going to say, I'm going to buy a tree, and that uses up all his 4 points. Buys a tree. Okay, he cannot directly go and exchange this. He has to do this in the next round, and it's going to be points that he needs in order to actually grow them. Okay, so that's the end of this round, and don't forget to change this over so we know who's the next player that goes first. Change that tree over, and now the sun moves again. Okay, now when it moves again, we start doing the scoring. Now the score starts changing because now the players start having more trees. So let's count the blue one first. Now he's got a mid-sized tree, and now the mid-sized tree has 2 points. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Orange has 1, 2, 3. This tree's not blocked, so it's got a point. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, now in this round, blue goes first. Okay, so blue says, all right, now I have only 3 points. I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to use 1 point and turn the seed into a tree. Okay, now the seed, now because there's no place to recycle it, it gets trashed. Okay, it's going to turn the seed into a tree. Now the blue says he wants to bank the rest of his points. We move over to the orange. Okay, now for orange, orange banked the last and now has a lot more points. So orange in this round is going to say, I'd like to change one of my trees from a small to medium, and that's 2 points. 1, 2. Okay, so I'm going to remove this one. And now this one has no room to recycle, that goes to trash. Okay? And now the orange can do more because the orange has a lot more points, but the orange is going to say, no, I'm going to bank it. Okay, so now we're going to change this over, and we have, make sure you remember that orange is going to be the next round. So now let's move the sun. Okay, so let's count these scores really quickly. There's no shading here, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's move this up, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, on this side, we've got, actually, based on where the sun's coming, this player got shaded. He shaded himself here, so he only gets 1 point here, and 2 points here. So now this player goes first this time. So this player is going to say, well, I've got a lot of points, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 4 points to buy a tree. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then I'm going to take another point to change one of these seeds into a tree. Changes it over, throws the seed out. Okay, and now it's going to be the blue's turn. Blue's turn is, now the blue's got a total of 5 points, and this time blue's going to say, well, I'm going to use, to get from a medium-sized tree to a large tree, that's 3. So he's going to use 3 points, 1, 2, 3, to change this one out. Because there's no place to recycle, it gets thrown out. It's going to change this one over to a large tree. Okay, looks like blue's getting close to a harvest. Okay, so now blue's going to say, okay, I'm done, and it's the round's done. So don't forget to change this token over, change it over here, and now the sun turns again. Now the sun turns, and let's do the scoring. Now, the scoring is going to be a little bit harder as well. There's some shading now. Now blue, as you can see, the large tree shades 1, 2, 3. This one doesn't get a score, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 1 point there. So that's a total of 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And this particular player, orange, it's got some shading, shade itself here, so it only gets 1 point here. And over here, this little one cannot shade a big one. Okay? So the good news is he gets both points. So he gets 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So now in this round, blue goes first. So blue's going to say, blue's been waiting to do that harvest, so he's got enough points. So in order to harvest, it's going to cost 4 points. Blue's going to say, I want to harvest, so it's going to be 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Now, let's take this out. Good news is this time with this harvest, he gets to recycle. Okay? And he gets a score. He's going to be able to, but because it's on one of the 1 leaves, he only gets a 1 leaf, which is 14. Okay? Now you have to remember, if the orange starts harvesting, the next one's going to be 14, but the one after 14 is going to be 13. So the people that harvest earlier on these spots are going to get the higher scores. Okay? Now it's the orange's turn. For the orange, okay, orange got this many points, so now the orange can say, okay, I would like to change one of my trees from a mid-sized one to a larger one. That's 3 points. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that is, whoops, let me put this over. 1, 2, 3. So there's no room to recycle this. This gets thrown out, and this one becomes a larger tree. Okay, now the orange one can use a few more points. The orange one can say, okay, in this round, I'd like to buy 1, 2, 3, a mid-sized tree. Okay, so now don't forget to change over the token to make sure we know who's the next first player, and the sun turns. Now let's score. Blue doesn't get a lot of points. Blue lost its large tree, but it gets both of these points. They're not blocked, so it gets 2. 1, 2. Orange gets a lot of points. No blocking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? So in this round, orange can basically harvest. Orange is going to say, I'm going to use to harvest 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Harvest. Now there's a place to recycle. And because the orange tree was on a 2-leaf, orange gets 17 points. Okay? So I'm going to stop here because I've pretty much in these rounds, we went 1 time around. I was able to at least illustrate to you how to grow trees and how to harvest and how to collect points. So eventually, this is going to Because we already went one round, you're going to put this aside, and eventually you're going to go a total of 4 rounds. Once you get to the end of the 4 rounds, then you tally up the amount of tokens that each player gets, and the player with the higher points will win. Overall, this game, as I told you at the beginning, it took us, when we had 3 players, about an hour and a half or so. Mainly because once you have a lot more players, it gets really fun, and believe it or not, our table starts looking like this. We've got trees everywhere, people are blocking each other, so it gets really hard to count up these points, but it gets really fun at the same time because you're sitting here trying to strategize whether you should grow a tree or buy a seed or harvest, and then you're trying to race to the middle because the ones in the middle will get higher points as well. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope that you guys can use this game to play your own game and give me some of your comments to let me know what you think of the game, because we enjoyed it very much, and we hope that all of you can enjoy it as well. We didn't get a chance to play it with a kid so that the kid can learn some photosynthesis, but I'm really hoping I can play with my nieces so that they can learn this as well, and I hope they would enjoy it as well. Okay, so if you liked it, please give a comment, and also, as you know, we have very little subscribers, so if this is helpful, please click to subscribe so we can keep on making you more cool videos and introducing you guys to more awesome games. Thanks a lot.